Hi, everyone. My name is Kyle Karen, Associate Consultant with MTM Services. I'm here with Michael Flora, Senior Consultant with MTM Services. Today, we want to talk about maintaining our back office and administrative processes while working in a remote environment. And so where are we today? Well, the past 4 to 5 weeks have proven to be an interesting and unprecedented time for organizations across our country, rapidly implementing new processes, protocols, and programs that in a normal environment would have taken weeks or even months to roll out. What are we doing differently? Well, we're working remotely. We're providing teletherapy at an individual and group level. We're providing telepsychiatry in a remote environment. Michael and I recently did a video on providing remote supervision, holding remote team meetings, and really we're all becoming experts on the various video and web conferencing applications that are out there. Now, one thing we want to talk about is our admin professionals. And so today, we know that our admin teams do a lot of different things for our organization and in support of our clinical teams. From one of the things we'll talk about is scheduling, the pre-service audit, pre-service functions to make sure the claim is going to get paid all the way through. Supporting our clinical staff in whatever way we can while we're all working remotely. And some of these things all roll together, like providing that general customer service for our clients. Revenue cycle is a huge topic and probably worth its own video, but that's going to be talking about authorizations, pre-certifications, collections, billing, the claim follow-up, various other functions that our admin teams do, like credentialing, things that are not going to go away just because we're working remotely.
As we've talked before, team, about kind of the concepts of revenue cycle in a regular environment, in a remote environment, they're just as important. We look at that pre-service, point of service, post-service. So pre-service is done 72 hours prior to the service being rendered. Again, the importance of centralized scheduling, have everything in the system so then our team members can actually go in and do that admission eligibility. As Kyle said, do we have a treatment plan? Do we do the pre-service audit? Do we have a right payer authorization verification? Then they're open to schedule. Then we can actually go in and confirm that appointment and push out that Zoom meeting. Point of service, the client actually checks in. Think about in what way will we move to collection of co-pays or deductibles? Will you bill that to me? Will it be a Venmo? How will I do that to pay my copay or deductible at this point? Post-session scheduling. How will we look at scheduling after the session is done? We did a 3-part series on collaborative documentation. You could definitely incorporate that next scheduling, that next appointment in that last 7 to 10 minutes of that appointment. Remember, a client can have up to 2 appointments in the book at any one time. I can have today's appointment and then next week's appointment. If I show today, I get my next appointment out. Then my post-service, looking at billing, denial management. Think of the life of a failed claim by percentage, reason code, what's happening, amount of account receivable management, cash posting, and then consumer follow-up if there is a copay or deductible or a payment issue. But anchoring all of these functions into key performance indicators for our back office administrative support team professionals. When we think about the post-therapy options, clinicians are placing kind of that extra emphasis on kind of getting that appointment scheduled and having clients call the front desk. So organizations are temporarily allowing clinicians to manage, or what I call the co-management of the schedule, to put their portion of the schedule in so I can add to the schedule. I can't just change, modify, or delete anything. A cancel has to happen at the front desk. If that consumer needs to cancel that appointment, they call the front desk or the call center. They don't call me as the clinician. And so we still manage that protocol, but I can add to the schedule in this environment. Scheduling team is then to follow up directly after the session or join the session at the end. I've seen that happen to teams where they know at about 10 minutes till or 5 minutes till the end of the hour, the support team professional will join the meeting in the chat room. Scheduling the next appointment with the next session in kind of real time so the client can see that to help keep them more engaged in that process, and clinicians kind of maintain their up-to-date backfill will call list. So if I do have a cancellation or late cancel, who can I backfill? And this is one of those things to think about, especially in the backfill environment. If I know a couple of my clients are very anxious, they're more depressed than usual, maybe a little panicked, they need more support during this time, then add them to your backfill will call list. So if I know this is my group of morning clients, if I have a no-show that are going to be available, these are my afternoon clients that I can call in or pull in if I need to off my backfill list. So make sure that we're readily available for the scheduling team. And then additional communication between the scheduling team and the clinician. So a lot of teams are having sort of huddles throughout the day with their support team professionals just to make sure everything's running smoothly. They have constant monitoring of scheduling updates. Think of that air traffic control that the front desk or call center is managing, looking at all those Zoom meetings happening out there. Email or direct message communication with the communication of the front desk are being made to kind of manage that. And then tracking for updates and sign off. So in what way temporarily do we need to have a one-off? If our electronic health record can't manage that, in what way can we? You know, do we go old school and put it on the old legal pad, use Excel or Access files to help manage the data? And look and see what kind of electronic health record supports you can have. Kind of the push notifications or updates are made, and embedding kind of that virtual meeting information into the actual scheduling software or system.
And reminder calls and notifications. These are going to be extra important in a remote environment because our clinicians are not, or our clients are not actively coming into our brick and mortar location. So making sure that we're making these calls or push notifications at least 48 hours prior to the service, specifying the date, the time, and putting emphasis that this is going to be a virtual meeting. And if we can, embedding that virtual meeting in that text or push notification. MTM's most recent newsletter actually had a list of HIPAA compliant telehealth platforms. So please feel free to check that out. The other thing is if our EHR and IT systems support it, setting them up to automatically push out or email a text, push out an email or send a text to the client's phone with that virtual meeting information and the link right in there. And really, we've seen that this pandemic has provided a lot of enhancements and opportunities to enhance our IT and EHR capabilities and using them to work better for us.
Think about ways that we can continue to embed those into the system going forward. You know, what have we lessons learned in kind of moving our workforce to a remote workforce? You know, a lot of the things that you put into place haven't changed. We're still managing the schedule. We're still managing no-shows. Clinicians are attempting to call, or engagement specialists are attempting to call for client no-shows. If I'm waiting in my virtual meeting for more than 5 minutes, the clinician can send a communication to the scheduling team, try to connect with Kyle, and then kind of abandon that after 15 minutes and then move to your backfill will call list. Again, who are the top 3 clients that I can get into my schedule this morning if I do have that opening? And the scheduling team to follow up with that no-show. So the engagement specialist follows up within 24 hours of that client. I'm sorry, Kyle, you missed your 3 o'clock appointment with Michael. What can we do to help you be successful in your treatment? Again, finding the reasons for missing that appointment. During these times, we may be allowing clients a little more grace in the no-shows or attendance. They've got a lot going on at home. Maybe they're food deliveries, they're homeschooling kids. They've got a lot of things going on. So allowing some grace, but still following up and trying to engage them and work to address any technical issues the client may have. Did they have connectivity? Did their internet go down? We're live streaming shows, so my computer doesn't have a battery right now. What is it that we're doing to kind of help folks to assess that level of engagement with the clinician and then reschedule?
In addition to scheduling, we know that our admin teams do a lot of other functions to make sure that that service and that claim is successful all the way through. And this is especially critical because, again, we're not seeing our clients. They're not coming into our system, into our organizations to check in. So we're not able to obtain those signatures right at the front desk or collect payments. So these activities are especially important now. And that includes payer verification, making sure that our systems have the updated demographic and financial information for our consumers, getting authorizations and pre-certifications for services for consumers, making sure we have an up-to-date assessment, treatment plan, ROIs, and consents on file. So we need to make sure that our revenue cycle or our billing teams are continuing to confirm coverage for all of our clients that are on the schedule. Admin teams checking the state's Medicaid system or some third-party system that your team might use to verify insurance on an ongoing basis, again, for everyone that's on the schedule. Paying extra close attention to the authorizations and pre-certifications for services for clients and making sure that there's no special codes or modifiers that might need to be used because we're providing these services via telehealth. Getting that updated demographic and financial information shifts now from time of check-in with the client to maybe we're doing it while we're scheduling our next appointment, as Michael mentioned, the various options for doing that, and encouraging our clinical staff to take these questions in that last 5 to 7 minutes of their sessions to see if there are any updates to this information.
And Kyle will talk more about this, really looking at kind of that to-do list. So if it is noticed that through the clearinghouse or some other way that my address isn't up to date, and that's going to go on that clinician's to-do list, right, Kyle?
That's right, yes. So our team liaisons are performing these chart prep functions 24 to 48 hours in advance of the service and creating that to-do list. So whether we're embedding that to-do list in our EHR, some of which do support that, or using a third-party software, Microsoft Planner is the example that we have here as a screenshot. But it could be as simple as having a shared network location for the clinician and for the admin teams to have that to-do list and check things off one by one. So in this example, we show that our client John Doe is coming in for an individual session on 4/28. Our team liaison has gone through this client's chart and said, okay, we need to get an updated treatment plan. We need to get an updated consent form, and that's attached here. And we need an updated ROI for this client's PCP, Dr. Smith. So obtaining those signatures, getting that updated treatment plan, and then getting it back to where we're storing that information, whether it's in our system or anywhere here, as we've mentioned. So, and this all involves working very closely with our IT teams to ensure that our data is protected and secure while we're in a remote environment.
And thinking through, if we do require client signatures, in what way will we gather those? Is it going to be through DocuSign? Is it through some other form that we're going to gather that signature? We're going to send something out, bring it back. A lot of states are allowing clinicians to kind of put in the client name, as long as the progress note says that the client agreed to this treatment plan, the client agreed to this consent, and then grabbing the live signature when we are back together. But thinking about in what way can we, and that's where we're thinking even moving some of those documents from the electronic health record and even temporarily into a paper form, as Kyle said, and getting that DocuSign or getting a PDF signature from that client on that particular component. I think even supporting our clinical staff, we've done a lot in moving a lot of our workforce remotely. In what way can we support our clinical support team professionals? Look, that centralized scheduling is needed and more to ensure the referrals made to the appropriate clinician at the appropriate time on the appropriate insurance panel. The ability to know at all times the availability of clinical staff throughout the network. So where do I have someone? And so that allows me to, instead of just office A or central office or office B, now I can schedule Kyle anywhere in the system. He doesn't have to be contained in this office because that's the office he works in on Monday. So really thinking about in what way can we redeploy his capacity across the network. So it's not just I work in this community, I work in this county. Especially those with multiple sites in multiple counties. Now your workforce has just expanded, and rethink the front desk functions, that copay collections prior to service being rendered. In what way will we gather that? And confirmation of insurance via a copy of the insurance card. Can the client take a screenshot on their cell phone and bring that in and say, so shoot me a copy of that so I have an updated card on file for you. We hope you found this information helpful today as you look at your revenue cycle and back office functions in the new remote environment. Thank you for your time and stay healthy, team. Thank you very much.
Thank you.